Yes, in the back. Yes, yes.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Jagadana Yashodanandana Jagadana Yamuna Ramanata Yamuna Gopi Jana Gopi Jana Yamuna Tera Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Tonight we're speaking from chapter 12, text 20. repeat the Sanskrit after me. Ye tu dam ritam idam yata toktam parupasati yata toktam parupasati Shraddhadana mat paramam bhaktastitiva me priya. Repeat the translation. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engages themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this chapter, from verse 2 through the end, from Mayi Avesha Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, through Yetu Dhammamritam Idam, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the processes of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person who engages in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path of self-realization for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, one works without fruitive result, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand the spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Etudam ritam idam yoktodam parupasite shradhana mat paramam bhaktasti tiva me priya. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who are completely engaged themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Om aginam timirandasya ginam ginam shalakaya chakshu militam jenam tajmai shri guruve namaha vanchakalpa turubhyascha kripasindu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha. So this devotional service, it refers to the perfection of life. This information comes down to us through the Vedic knowledge, and it refers to how one can find perfection in this life. Because the Vedas describe the real nature of the self. We see the self, but we see the external form of the self, that is the gross body. But there are other parts of the self that are hidden and are unknown. So self-realization is simply coming in contact, becoming realized to what these different states of existence are. We have the gross body, we have the subtle body, and we have the spiritual body. So the most important information is regarding the spiritual body. The spiritual body, the qualities of the spiritual body is what we desire. Because the qualities of the spiritual body is not temporary. The happiness for the soul is not coming and going, but it's remaining there permanently and increasing. That's the nature of the spiritual energy. All spiritual energy is all beautiful, all amazing, all inconceivable, and but the material energy is not like that. The material energy is distressing, it's uncomfortable, and then you have to give it up. That is the way of life for everyone who is situated in the body. So one who is situated in the body, he has to get the knowledge before he leaves this body. He has to become self-realized. That is the process. And if one doesn't do that, then he has to take birth again. Until that perfection is attained, one cannot go to the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there's no loss, there's no diminution, there's no anxiety, there's no frustration, there's no bewilderment, there's no anger, and all of these bad qualities that we find in the material world. So because all these bad qualities are there, then it requires, in order to develop the good qualities, one has to avoid bad association, because bad association will increase the bad qualities. And good association will increase the good qualities. The good qualities are, caring for others, love, understanding, being a good example for one's family, being a good example for society, a good example for the humans. So one responsibility is to be a good example. Because in life, people learn from good example. They don't learn from just theories. Theories won't help. We want to develop the good qualities. And so, like I stated here, that comes about by good association. So this is the main thing we have to find, is where is the best association. And you'll find, when you're talking about the best association, then you're talking about devotee association. Because by devotee association, you get the opportunity to reawaken, to develop your love of God. When we say love of God, we don't mean, we just like God, we just like God. We just appreciate God. No. When we say love of God, we're referring to a very advanced platform of love of God that's unknown to people who are not practiced. If you're not practiced to get to that dimension, then you're going to just see love of God like, I just like God. I like coming, I like chanting, I like being. But that's not love of God. That's the very beginning of love of God. Because love of God, that it means high ecstasies. Just like Lord Chaitanya is experiencing high ecstasies. And all great devotees, they experience, high ecstasies. They taste wonderful love of God. And that's attractive to persons who are advancing. Indeed, this is the only thing that God is interested in. Who is interested in loving me and being in the spiritual world and simply loving. Somebody else may not be interested in loving God. They may be interested in just getting something from God, getting some power or something else, getting a big property. We'll pray to God for this or that. Generally, we want God for something we can get from God. But not often we get the understanding, why are you giving something to God? Devotional service means you're taking care of God. Just like Mother Yasoda. Mother Yasoda is not expecting something from Krishna. She's giving him the bottle, she's taking care of him. That's devotional service. So it's a little different than praying to God for something. We pray to God too, but we pray to God, please increase my devotional service. So we pray to God, but we don't pray for this or that, because it's stated here in the last chapter, at the last part of this verse, Srila Prabhupada is saying, you don't have to worry about the materials. You don't have to worry about the materials, because as soon as you're doing devotional service, automatically the Lord takes care of you. Automatically He takes care of you. You don't have to really worry. Of course, it doesn't mean like I'll just do nothing and God will take care of me. That's not really true. God wants you to exercise your activities to do something for Him. If you come to the temple, not to get just to get something from Krishna, you come here to do something for Krishna. And that's how you become self-realized. You give something to Krishna. We grow up, usually we're thinking, why can you give to God? You can't give nothing to God. God owns everything. But what you can give to God is your love and your devotion and your dedication. And that means a lot to God. Like he's stating here, Krishna is stating here, a devotee means a lot to Krishna. Not only to Krishna, a devotee means a lot to everybody. Just like Srila Prabhupada means a lot to everyone. Because that person being a good example, they help a lot of other people. That is the way of devotional service. You cannot do it on your own. Therefore, the training is there. In the beginning, you get trained by the spiritual master. The first training is how to give up the false ego. Because the false ego is always trying to be better than others. But that is not purified. Purified means you're the servant and the lover of others. So there's no competition. But in the material world, everybody's competing. Who has this, who has that, more than others. So to approach Krishna, that means one has to become, purified. So to the end, this chanting is there. Everything that you do in devotional service will add to the purification of the consciousness. When the consciousness is purified and you have good association, then what will happen? You will become free from the bodily identity. Means also you're very light in the body. You become light in the body. The body is not dragging you down. If you think you're the body and you follow the body way of life, then of course the body, you're captured by the body. The body say, you are mine. Then you're lost. But if you can find yourself, then you wouldn't fall victim to the body and fall victim to I'm the body. As you're the spirit soul, you're eternal, you're full of bliss and ananda, but you sacrifice that to take up being the body. And what is the body giving you now? Pain. The body is full of pain, headache, backache, toothache, all kinds of aches. If you're not careful, then you'll just suffer in the body. But if you get the knowledge, what your position is actually, that you become free from the body, you become free from my people. My people, all living entities are your relatives. All living entities are your relatives. And so anyone who is living apart from that understanding that everyone is a stranger, then they cannot become actually purified enough to be in the spiritual dimension, because to be in the spiritual world you have to have the quality. What quality? You have to have the quality like God. That's the only way you'll be in the spiritual world. You have to have the qualities like God is. And you have that quality. It just has to be revived. The processes of devotional service will help you to revive your God quality. And then when you develop those good qualities, then you'll be able to see God. God is already there, and you're seeing God, but you don't know that you're seeing God. So therefore it requires, the training, the practice. In the beginning, it's good to make some austerities. You can't get something genuine unless you make a sacrifice. You have to give something. You have to give up something. Just like if somebody wants to become purified, giving up the false ego means that you have to find somebody who knows more than you. If you just settle for people who know the same thing, you won't make any progress. So you have to find, it's not going to come just in the books, it's going to come in a personal way, through devotee association. That's how Krishna works. He enlightens one person, and he lets that person spread the enlightenment to other persons who are serious. And persons who are not serious, God keeps that away from persons who are not serious. Not serious means you're not taking God seriously. You're not digging into it, and you're just going back. So there's a price to pay for not being serious, and that price is you'll have to take birth again in the material body again. Again you're a baby, again you have to go through this, again you have to go through that. And Prabhupada said, don't even trust the next life, because you can come in the next life, next thing you know, bad association, you forget everything about what you're supposed to be doing. That's what happened. Prahlad Maharaj is a great devotee. He was asked, what is the thing that is you're afraid of the most? And he said, he's a great devotee. He said, I'm not afraid of anything. That's a great devotee. He's not afraid of anything. But then he said, there's one thing that I'm afraid of. And they said, what is that? And he said, bad association. Bad association is really terrible, because it can lead you astray, and then you're lost. Like you see so many people, they're lost, right? They're walking in the road, talking to themselves, dirty, he's lost. Right? We admit, he's lost. He's lost the game. Right? So in life, you could get lost. It can happen to anyone. Say, you see somebody looking miserable, you don't know why. Maybe, there's so many reasons. Maybe he's sick, maybe he's broke up the relationship with somebody, maybe he lost a job. So there's so many things that can make a person, and the person feels like, what is life worth now? I might as well kill myself. So life is like that. If you don't find the bliss and the ecstasy and the joy, you will be harassed by the pain, the misery, and the anxiety. So it either take one or the other. You can't stay in the middle. You don't do anything, I'll just stay in the middle. No, these forces will pull you. Either surrender here or you just surrender there. You get ripped apart, And if you don't surrender there, then you'll have to surrender over here and get the miseries. People thinking over here without God, I'll be happy. But it's a false idea. It's a false idea. And then people think also that I'll make so many things, I'll leave for my children. That's another false idea. What children you have? You're alone. People always like to think of me and my family and everybody. You're alone. Yep. You face God alone. You came here alone, you're still alone, and you're still facing God alone. Of course, so many people here to keep you company, that's nice. But when you have to leave alone. Nobody's going with you. Right? So you're alone. And if you don't find the way to get the relief, to get the happiness, to get the ecstasies developed, if you're even in devotional service, if you don't make progress, after a while you'll become depressed, because you'll say, I'm doing so many things, but I'm not finding enlightenment yet. Prabhupada said there's something you're not doing. So the riddle, you have to find out what it is I'm not doing. And what it is you're not doing, you're simply not able to love anyone. There's the problem that people say they love God, but they really don't have anything to love. I love the name of God, but I don't really love God. I'm hoping to sometime develop it. So people are going on like that without developing love of God. But when you come to Krishna consciousness, this is your opportunity. Full knowledge, full enlightenment. Why? Because you have the form of God. You know who the form of God is. If you don't know who the form of God is, then what do you know about God? Nothing. If I know your name, that's not enough to know about you. I just know your name. People with the name, there's not enough information about God. You need to know who God is, you need to know where He lives, you need to know what He does, you need to know what He's like. And when you hear those things about God, then you'll remember God. God is living. Not like, I have my life, but God, He don't have a life, you know. Just me, I have my life. No, God has His life. And if you want to investigate, you'll find that He has a beautiful place for you in the spiritual world, where you belong. You were already in the spiritual world, because you're eternal. You had to be in the spiritual world before. And so how Prabhupada said, how you fell out to the spiritual world, don't worry about that. Just make the progress, how to make the advancement, gradually. Find the ways to make the advancement. You have chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Atmanivedanam, 9 processes of devotional service. You can do any one of those and you'll become more and more advanced by doing them. Just by hearing. If you're hearing, then you're advancing. If you're hearing from the right person, then you're advancing by hearing. Prabhupada said. That's why Prabhupada engaged us in simply come and listen to his talks in the lecture. In the morning, in the Bhagavatam class. And that's where everybody became realized by hearing from pure devotees. You cannot hear if the person is not purified, the hearing wouldn't be effective. So that's the first thing, is we find good association by Krishna's grace. And as soon as you have that good association, then you have Krishna's blessing. And then you can develop the ecstasies. They won't come if the Krishna says that you have to do the devotional service with love. But you cannot do it with love if you don't have the love. Krishna says, you do it with love, but people have small love. So small love is not effective. So your love has to increase to get big love. That will only increase by association and by having association that moves you. Just like for somebody to become self-realized, they have to be moved by a pure devotee. A pure devotee moves the person. And they begin to become encouraged by that pure devotee. And when they get closer to that pure devotee, they become realized about what kind of qualities they have to develop. If you don't have good qualities, usually people cannot find their bad qualities. This is the thing. We cannot find what our bad qualities are. Why? Because we don't want to know what our bad qualities are. We would like to know what our good qualities are. But if you don't know what your bad qualities are, then you won't be able to make any progress. So this is where the false ego is tested. In the Krishna consciousness movement, we develop a good character. You develop good qualities. You're there to have love for others, to support others. This Krishna consciousness is not about you alone making spiritual progress and going to the spiritual world. It's about your brothers and sisters too. So it requires a person, just like Srila Prabhupada, he was in India, he was doing well, advanced devotee, happy, and his spiritual master ordered him to come to the Western world and to help deliver people in the Western world. So that's what Prabhupada did. One person, alone. Why? So why was Srila Prabhupada so successful? Just one person. Usually you come from India, who's going to believe you from India? Everybody knows about India already, no one believes anything. So many people have spoken about Krishna before, nobody believed anything, but this one person, he talked, he came, and then everybody became Krishna conscious all over the world. That is an amazing person. That can just an ordinary person cannot do that. So in this way, you see the mysteries of pure devotees and the way they act. You know, even Lord Jesus Christ is a pure devotee. This is where we understand pure devotees. They don't have any small-minded designation that they belong to. They work for everyone. And so, in this time now, this Kali Yuga, this information that's coming from Lord Chaitanya is what everyone needs to make this spiritual advancement. If you can come to the temple, try to make association, try to get association with the devotees. And if you have a friend, that friend should be a devotee. If you have a wife, of course, a wife is a devotee. If you have a brother, if anything association you have, that person should be a devotee. Then you'll become purified. You'll be living in Vaikuntha. Just like if you have devotee wife, you'll be living in Vaikuntha. Because everybody will be doing the artik, everybody will be doing the services in the house, in the home, and then your friends will be Krishna conscious, and that's the way you become Krishna conscious, by association. So you make association, and you keep association, you avoid bad association. And in good association, you have to remember that do not compete with good association. Just take good association and be benefited. And there's no competition, because somebody who's self-realized, he considers himself to be the lowest person, right? The most unfortunate. And so there's no competition. Once a devotee told Srila Prabhupada, he said, oh Srila Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. And Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. So, humility is required. If you're not humble, then God will not accept you, because you're puffed up. For you to develop Krishna consciousness, humility is required. And you can learn humility. Of course, you can learn humility. You have to mix with somebody who knows more than you, and then you'll find humility. But if you don't find anybody who knows more than you, then you'll never be humble like that. And Krishna never accepts anyone who is not humble and simple and dedicated and willing to share the knowledge with others. It's not the knowledge, if you get the realization, it's not just for you alone. It's not that you're the special person so you get everything. No, it's really for everyone. If it comes through you, then you become purified. But you're not the object of the attainment. Just like Prabhupada said, a pure devotee never directs everyone to themselves. They always direct everyone to Krishna. They don't say that they are the thing. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he didn't say, I am the thing. He always said that Krishna was the thing. You see? So he always directs to Krishna, never directs to himself. They asked Srila Prabhupada once, they said, it was the Kubla Mela, and then they saw some gurus on the elephants, and they said, Prabhupada, we should have got an elephant, and we got an elephant, we put you on the elephant. And Prabhupada said, yeah, we get the elephant, we'll put Krishna on the elephant. So Prabhupada could always deflect to Krishna. Somebody in any relationship, if you become the center, you become foolish. Just like a husband thinks, I'm the center of everything, then he becomes a foolish person. The wife also thinks, I'm the center of everything, that's also foolish. But if they understand that Krishna is the center, then that's smart. Because that's the reality. Of course, we would often give Prabhupada the credit. Not like we say, oh, he's just a servant, we'll give Krishna the credit. No, Krishna will say, give Srila Prabhupada the credit. They both battle with each other, Krishna and Prabhupada. Krishna is saying, look at Prabhupada. Prabhupada is saying, look at Krishna. So they all deflect to each other. Krishna never says, I. He always says, my devotee, my devotee. Just like in this verse, he's saying how much he loves devotees. So if the Lord loves devotees like that, he's just showing us how we should be. We should be loving devotees like the Lord is loving devotees. So it requires some training, some practice, some good association. In the beginning, you have to be loved by other people. Devotees can help you along. In the beginning when I've been a devotee for a long time, but when you become a devotee shows you how to tie a dhoti, shows you how to go to the bathroom, shows you how to worship the deity, shows you everything. Prabhupada was like that. He showed us everything. We were before we met Srila Prabhupada, we were like animals. Like animals in a cage, walking. And Prabhupada showed us how to behave and how to be nice and how to be everything, you know. So a spiritual master is not like that. It's not like a teacher. It's more personal. And then the secret is if you develop love for the spiritual master and the pure devotee, your love for Krishna will come out of that. So the pure devotee is part of Krishna's interaction with you. That is kind of strange, but the Lord forces that. That don't come to me, go to my devotees first, you know, then I'll talk to you later, you know. But why the Lord does that? Because the Lord is very much favored to his advanced devotees. Because why? They don't only love Krishna, they love everyone. They love everyone. This loving Krishna is not just loving Krishna, it's just loving everyone, because the super soul is in the heart of everyone. The animal, the bird, everything. When you become Krishna conscious, then you can relate to everything. You can relate to people on the job too. So you'll benefit all around. And in that way, you'll be able to make a success of this life. Success of this life, you have to remember, is not just material things. To get a nice property, of course that's very nice. But you have to keep focused that you have to leave the body. Keep that focus that you have to leave the body. And before you leave the body, you have to become self-realized. This is what you're charged with. This is your duty. Nobody can do that for you. You can see somebody else who's doing it nice, you can enjoy with them, oh, they're feeling good, they're doing nice, everything. But you have to make your own sacrifice. At the same time, you put yourself so other devotees can have love for you too. Then you'll feel loved by Krishna too. If devotee loves you, Krishna loves you too. And that way you'll make a success of this life and you won't be like foolish, make a fool. The material energy won't be able to make a fool out of you. So I'd like to open it for questions. Questions are important. And if you have a question, a good time to ask any little question we might have. Prabhupada always open his talks for questions. Sometimes you hear people give a talk, no questions, close the thing, everything's finished, bye, Hare Krishna, we're gone. That's not good, because questions are important. You know, Maharaj Parikshit is asking Sukadeva Goswami, this is the basis of Krishna consciousness, is question and answers. The pure devotees, they have the perfect answers. And if you get the answers from your questions, then you can become self-realized easy. So, any question? Any question? This is very good, when people have no questions.
In Bengali you have a slang, right? It says, Sat Sangye Sarvabhas, Asat Sangye Sarvanas. That means, if you have a good association, you live in a heavenly life. When you have a bad association, you ruined everything.
Yes, that goes to the point of association. A bad association, you have to run away. And good association, you have to try to get to run to that. So that is the very important point, is that you come to the temple, you come to Krishna consciousness to get good association. Krishna will provide that for you. To give you nice devotees to associate with, people who are enlightened, people who are realized, and people who add to your progress in spiritual life. And just like me, I didn't know anything, but I met very nice devotees. I served with them on Radha Damodara for years, different devotees, very nice persons. And from them I learned Krishna consciousness. You just can't learn it from the book. If you could learn from the book, then Srila Prabhupada would say, just read the books. But Prabhupada didn't say that. Prabhupada made us come live in the temple and get trained every day how to be a devotee. And that's how it happens. Get trained every day, every night, every day, like that. Then you can get trained like that. But if you just study it a little bit, you won't get anything. So you have to be very careful. In these times now, it's very hard to live in a temple like how it was in the olden days. So it's even more important that, you study at home, you listen to lectures, you go on the internet, you get association. become friendly with the devotees. Then you'll make progress. Then your path back to Godhead will be assured, and then you'll be able to help other persons. Okay, so if there's no questions, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Nitai, Hari Hari, back to Godhead. Yeah. What time are they going?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Prabhuji, in military, soldiers are very disciplined.
Yeah.
They have rules, regulations, strict rules.
Yeah.
But here I know people wake up at that specific time, then Mangala and rules. This discipline is there. So what is the magic or what is the formula? Because I also try to do.
Yeah. The magic, that's good to use. The magic is the love. Magic is the love, but you can understand the love. The love is very high. Somebody cannot get that kind of love. That's ordinary. That's a revelation type of love. So when somebody has it, their talk is just for the talk. It's vibration. The person who has love can make more sense. And if you have love, it makes more sense than just knowing it. Knowing it doesn't give you the happiness of it, but love gives you the happiness. But love is a word that's very difficult to understand unless you're advanced. But love is not just like sentiment. Love is very deep. Love is what everything is resting on. So you can get it. The eyes. The eyes of love have to see you. You need touching and you need eye contact, you need a lot of things. You need the energy from the heart like that, all of these things. And then because you remember, you make a connection with the person. And you get the person to feel.